Today we think nothing about hopping in our cars and heading down the highway to visit a relative, go to the beach, or maybe even take a trip to the amusement park. Our highway system in the United States can take us just about anywhere we wish to go. That wasn't the case, however, for people who lived 100 years ago. In the early 1900s, the roads between cities were not good roads if they were there at all. Very few people actually owned one of the brand new motor cars. And even for those who could afford a car, the only roads that were good enough to drive on were in the cities, not outside, heading to other towns.
The early automobiles were used almost entirely in town. People who tried to take trips, and there were stubborn people who did just to prove it, they had enormous trouble with flat tires. Their diaries show they would have 2 or 3 flat tires a day. They would get stuck in mud holes. They would get lost because the roads weren't marked very well. So a long trip by car was a great adventure.
One of the first people to own an automobile in Indianapolis, Indiana, was a businessman by the name of Carl Fisher, and he started the first automobile dealership to sell cars in Indianapolis. In 1909, Mr. Fisher created a large oval track in his city to develop and test new automobiles. 2 years later, he started an annual 500-mile automobile race on that track to create more public interest in automobiles. This race is still being held every year. It's known as the Indianapolis 500. Carl Fisher wanted to sell cars, but he also knew that buying one just for driving around in town wasn't a practical reason. He also knew that if people wanted to travel to another town, they had to take a train. Trains, however, didn't always go where the people wanted to go and when they wanted to go. Buying a car would give them that freedom, but unfortunately the bad roads of America could not.